agus an bháide. Tá anráid a ruir an seo, drón áil seo agus ócáid anaías agus ócáid táachta ó híomh na heilgéine a chuir na gaiile. Every exhibition opening is special, but your first exhibition opening is really very special. And this is a very memorable day for Charlotte. And I have to say, it's a very memorable day for us to be surrounded by all these remarkable paintings, because this is quite an extraordinary debut. And I must say, we congratulate her on it. And we also congratulate her on bringing John O'Donohue here to open this exhibition. He's very shy, John. He doesn't? Will I not start? Okay. All right. Always ask a poet, if possible, to open an exhibition, because they often can see in around the back of the canvas, they tend to have their own vision, their own stamp on things, and this man is no exception. So, open the show, John O'Donohue.
An riméid go deorum bheit a láthar an seo leis an taspántas seo a oscailt, mar ceapan gur taspántas uasal, dam, ála, agus taspántas sa bhfuil smaoine agus mothú innealach go déasa. I'm really delighted to be here to open this exhibition. And I've been acquainted with Charlotte's work for a while now. And I think it's really spectacular. And this exhibition has as its theme the whole theme of light. And I want in a rather maybe colloquial way to introduce what I want to say. About 5 weeks ago, I was going to the land of the free and the home of the exceptionally brave. And I left Connemara and went down to Clare and stayed with my family because it was near the shelter. And as I came in home, my brother was, as we'd say in that area of North Clare, in somewhat of a fooster. And I said to him, "What's up?" And he said, "There's a cow just about to calf." So I went out with him because we thought we'd have to pull the calf. But when we got to the corner of the field, the cow had already calved. And he said to me, "Come out at 12 o'clock before you go to bed and just look at the calf again." So I come out at 12, and the cow had already licked the calf dry. Calf was already standing and had his first feast of milk. And it was a beautiful, idyllic pastoral scene. A very gentle moonlit night with not a puff of a breeze anywhere. And I thought, what a lovely night for a calf to be born. And as I walked away from them, I looked back at them again and I said to myself, even if I did believe in reincarnation theory, and this calf secretly had some of Einstein's genetic code in it, it could never possibly imagine what was going to happen about 6 hours later when the dawn broke. And when that whole night world would be utterly transformed into colour, distance, presence, individuality, and beauty. And in a certain sense, the breaking of dawn is one of the most powerful metaphors for beginning, for discovery, for introduction, for strangeness, and even for creativity itself. And sometimes, I think that the secret structure of things is that there are all these gradual symmetries which we don't notice because they don't arise simultaneously. And I think that the breaking of dawn is like the breaking of thought in the mind. It's like emergence and it's like discovery. And in a certain sense, that's what the artist does. The artist is a person who is called to participate in emergence, where something is coming through from the formless, from the silence, and from the unknown. And they hope to be skillful enough, to be alert enough, and to be lucky enough to be there when something is finding its way into emergence. And that's why really good art is not about the rearrangement of something that is already there, but it's actually an event of discovery. One night when I was in Tübingen, I heard the great German philosopher Gadamer talk about when he was a younger man, and Heidegger and his wife were on holidays in Greece. And Heidegger sent to him a postcard, and he described in the early morning going in a boat among the Greek islands, and suddenly out of the fog there would be the crystal clear form of an island. And Heidegger was saying to Gadamer, in German he said, "Wir haben noch nicht gelernt, die Griechen griechisch genug zu denken." We have not yet learned, he said, to think the Greeks Greek enough. And that was about the event of Epiphany. And that's what you find, I think, in many of Charlotte's paintings, is that quality of revelation, something on its way from somewhere else, that she somehow manages to capture. And there is such kind of autonomy and authority in them. And one of the things I always love about abstract painting is that it stands so beautifully and critically counter to our culture of instantaneity, immediacy and gratification. Because something that is abstract doesn't let you reach or embrace it easily. It calls on you to work and to get into it. It's like a wonderful phrase that Denis O'Donohue had when he talked about the difference between fancy and imagination, and he was talking about a few lines of poetry, and he said, the only effect these lines will ever have is their first effect. No amount of pondering will make them glow. And I think that in these paintings, that they call you into conversation with them, into visual conversation and internal conversation with them. And I think that the more you ponder them, the more they actually begin to glow. I also think that it's wonderful to be in the presence of good abstract painting because it causes you to revise the givenness of things and the forms that you take for granted. Because most of the time what we're seeing is just what we're habitually constructing out of the familiar. And it's lovely to be called to go a bit deeper into the subtext of things before they actually finally form. And the last thing I want to say is that it's also lovely to be in the presence of paintings that really have a distinctive taste of originality about it. I think originality is what every artist is actually after. And it's very hard to be original. Beckett, I think it was Beckett, said, it was Rimbaud actually said, "I have no ancestors." Meaning that when you manage, and it's not often it happens, but when you manage to stand on a threshold where something original comes through you or through your craft, it's an incredible event. It is what Schiller talked about, what the imagination does, is that it creates true individualities that can go off on their own and then look after themselves. And it's the beauty of a really good piece of art is that it immunizes itself against takeover by any kind of interpretation and remains completely itself. And I think this is a fascinating debut. And visual art and the way Charlotte uses paint, form, and especially her faithfulness to light and her patience with its diverse revelations, slownesses, hesitancies, and glow is really wonderful. And this is her debut exhibition. And you know, sometimes Pannenberg, the great German philosopher and theologian, say it's at the end that you get to look at what the beginning was. But you know, sometimes in the beginning, you get a little look at where the journey might go. And I think that there is something very distinctive, very gifted, and very courageous in its experimental kind of ability going on in this work. And we're going to hear a lot about Charlotte Kelly. And there's also, you know, there's also in them, even though there's so much going on and they are true events of paint, there's also such an achieved stillness in so many of them that really has the hallmark of great authority, of skill and vision. So it's a really great exhibition, and I'm deeply honoured to open it and to congratulate this remarkable woman on the beauties she has on these walls.
If I could just make a point to you, obviously in such a crowd, and it's wonderful that we're all here to celebrate this extraordinary debut, as John said, but I do really recommend that you come back in quieter time to look at this exhibition and to really take on board what John has just described so beautifully. It really recommends itself to you in peace and calm and quiet. So thank you for your attention. Enjoy the exhibition.